Hey, Monica, did you know it's now even easier to listen to Round the Hay Bale podcast?
What? Really? How easy?
That's right. All you have to do is say, Alexa, play Round the Hay Bale podcast.
Playing Round the Hay Bale podcast on Apple Music.
Ooh, we're really fancy now.
Tune in to Round the Hay Bale every Monday at 9 a.m. Central Time.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ann with Andale Homestead.
Hey, y'all, what's up? It is Casey over at Ormsby Farms.
And this is Sandy with Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona.
And I'm Monica from Bland's Promised Land Ranch. All right, we are live tonight talking about faith over fear. We are talking a little bit about how we live on homesteads and we're doing homestead things and we're growing food and growing animals and all the things. And sometimes we can be afraid as we start these tasks, right? We can let that fear kind of conquer us and take over. And we want to encourage you over the next week or two to really push past that fear and to find a way to get through and have some faith. And we're going to share with you what we do and how we handle things so that maybe you can be more prepared to handle those things that come your way. And we're leading ourselves right into season 6, guys. Woo-hoo! We are starting season 6 and we're very excited to start season 6 here in just 2 short weeks, right, Casey? Is it 2 weeks?
2 weeks. Can you believe it? 2 weeks. And the crazy thing is we're going to, with our new season 6, we're like cray-crays, y'all. We are cray-crays because there will never be a downtime for our podcast coming out. Our podcast will come out until infinity and beyond. I feel very Bud Lightyear.
There you
Infinity
go.
and beyond.
Yes.
Yeah, so next week you want to look for our promo because I believe we're going to have a promo next week to get you all hyped up for the following Monday when our very first episode comes out for season 6 and basically for the rest of the year, because we are going to be just pumping out these videos and these podcasts so that you won't ever have to miss us.
That's
Any
right.
other weeks.
There you go.
Okay, so speaking of missing us, Miss Ann, would you like to say hello to all the people that we are not missing tonight that are here?
Absolutely. It does our heart so good for y'all to come in the chat and to comment on what we're talking about. It really helps us. It helps our algorithm, all those types of things. So Joe, fix it for you, cutie patootie. Jarrett Talks. I'm going to be on Jarrett Talks and his show in 2 weeks, a week from Thursday. Hey, Penny, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you. Cora's Life. How you doing, sweetie? Jesse's girl, my Lisa. And BP, how do? And Sandy, I got my heart this week, she says. BP did. Lynette Lawrence, how do? I'm so glad you're here. Our treasured home, Miss Nancy. Hey. How are we? Let's see. And Cynthia Delott, all the way from the Netherlands. We love you, Cynthia. Thank you for being so supportive and being here. We
I
appreciate
always love when you say that, Ann, because the 1 week that Ann was gone, we tried to do that when she says, and Cynthia Delott from the Netherlands, but it just never sounds as good. Just saying.
Yep, I heard you. You did a great job. Hey, VC Family Homestead. That's Kayla, I betcha. I'm glad she's here. And Rebecca, touched by yarn. Hey, darling. I'm so glad everyone is in here. And Sandy had an opportunity to be on VC Family Homestead last
Did.
Sunday,
Yes,
and
it
it
was
was
great fun.
wonderful. Yes. So, talking about faith over fear, we really are in a state here in our town. Hey, Troy, I'm glad you're getting better every day, honey. Um, in northeastern North Carolina, we aren't used to bad weather. We're not used to snowstorms and ice storms, and we have both of those coming. And this one, I mean, I can kind of tell by my husband's reaction. He's not one that reacts to storms. I ain't gonna be much. That man is glued to the television and YouTube. He's been chopping wood, gathering supplies, getting gas for the generator, making sure the solar generator is charged up. I've got chargers and batteries all over my room to be able to be prepared. So, and now everything's done. I mean, I can sit back and say, okay, come on, we'll be in the house until Sunday after tomorrow and we'll be just fine. So that faith over fear thing is a lot. How about you, Sandy? How do you feel about making sure that what is important to me is our peace of mind as well as having security with preparation?
Well, I think that, sometimes when you say faith, you think of God, right? And all of us have that type of faith. But also, I think you have to have faith in yourself, faith in your abilities, things that you've learned, classes that you've taken, and now it's that step. Even though when you're doing something new, it can be scary. You can
That's
have
right.
that level of fear, but you have to have faith in yourself that, okay, I've learned these things. I can put this into practice. Even though I might be a little scared right now, as
Yep.
soon as you take that step and then you're going, okay, I can do that. My confidence is getting built up. And I think that's important to do. You know, it's a preparation that you've made so that you can be successful in your homestead. And you have to just take that leap of faith, that first walk, that first trying, and you'll be amazed at what will happen. What
That's
about you,
right.
Casey?
Well, I have to say that both you and Anne put it very eloquently um, for the topic. Because when I think about this, especially with how the state of the world is and everything going on, and everyone is sometimes very scared and nervous about whether it's tariffs, whether it's prices of groceries going up, whether it's this. What you said, Sandy, having faith in yourself and your knowledge and the skills that you have learned should give you a good kind of like sigh of
Confidence.
relief going into the new year. Like, I know going into my new year, I ain't got to worry about the egg prices going on. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, I got free egg, well, not free eggs, my
Yeah.
$1 million eggs out back, but I have eggs that are coming in. Same thing when people are talking about like meat prices going up. Learning these skills, and we'll talk about this, especially in our first couple of episodes of season 6, learning these skills so that you have the faith in yourself to go forward with a new homestead year. Every single year, you have that faith. Okay, I have my gardening skills. I know that I'm going to grow the food that I want to grow for my family or myself. Um, all different type of skills. It's not just gardening, canning, soap making, fire starting. We learned that recording the podcast that I don't have that skill. Everybody else on the podcast does, but Casey doesn't.
Oh,
I'm gonna get there. It's a no worry for me. I'm gonna learn um,
there you go.
because I want to have faith in myself that I can do it
That's
going
right.
forward if the need arises for me to do it.
That's
So
right.
yeah, so that's mine's more little political stuff that I
No,
throw in.
it's great. It's great. And Gear Grinding 19 says there's no time for fear, only time to figure it out.
True.
And that's true with anything, honestly. And I had a little live this morning, Tuesday, and what I chose to concentrate on is perseverance and persistence. And I've always been told it's 10% talent and 90% perseverance. So I can persevere through it and conquer that 10% and find that talent somewhere. How about you, Monica?
I think I'm kind of like Casey too, in the sense of, I'm seeing the whole, looking at how things are going. I think that a lot of times I can get tied up in some of the things that make me afraid. And so I react. Gear said there's no time to fear, only time to figure it out. Well, my reaction should be from what I know. But a lot of times my reaction is what I don't know. And then I scare myself and I'm like, oh, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. And
Right.
I think I've learned more lately that when I'm put into sticky situations or when I'm starting to think about all the all the things, then I am starting to react more out of a figure it out mentality lately. It's more of, I
Mhm.
have so many skills. Let me just tap into what I know and let's move into that. Let's move into that area of my life that I can draw from.
That's right.
I know that, when certain things arise, I get scared. I get afraid that maybe I'm not going to be able to handle all these bills, or maybe I'm not going to be able to handle needing more food for whatever animal. Am I going to have the resources to go get the hay bales and the, food for the pigs and all this stuff, and the cold weather is coming? Am I going to have enough resources to make sure that I can keep the water going at all times? What if the water freezes inside? Then what do I do? Like, I've thought about all these things, and I feel like the more I've practiced them, the more prepared I feel and the better I am feeling about that situation. And just kind of doing it and not getting hung up in all the things and all the what ifs, because I think that's where I get really scared, is the what ifs. And Casey
Absolutely.
mentioned like the tariffs and things like that. I've, looking at all the political stuff, my Instagram is filled with political things, and I go there for my news. I don't go to the actual news. I go to like YouTube and Instagram, and I be sending my kids stuff. I'm like, did you see this?
TikTok.
Yeah. But when you see it, it can make you afraid immediately. And I think that sometimes you have to take a step back and be like, hold on, wait. I
Yeah.
need to actually like look into this a little bit, because I'm smarter than just that. Like, I'm smarter than just seeing it and immediately believing everything I see. I
That's
think I
right.
need to like take this and digest this, chew on it a little bit, and then realize that, okay, I can get through this because I've been
Right.
through this before.
Right.
Mhm.
And whether you've done it or whether or you feel that God's led you through it, you can get through that, and it'll happen again. But yeah, sometimes you just have to react and figure it out, but go from a good place and not a scared place.
That's right. Well, I mean, sometimes fear is a motivator. It really is. I mean, when I first began to garden, I began because my husband was retiring and our income was going to change some. And I thought, I got to grow my own food. Uh-oh. And somebody in the chat had said at the time, look, if I had to eat off of my own garden 24/7, I would starve to death. Chill out, Ann. It's going to be fine. You're going to be able to learn to grow things. So that sounds really good to me. But to be strong in your belief in saying, in your confidence that, you know what? It's going to be all right. Whatever comes about, if a tree falls on the house, we're going to be okay. We can do other things. We've got lots of other stuff and other places and things that we can do. So I think that's exactly right. Don't you think it's something like that, Sandy?
Yeah, I think that you never know every scenario that could happen, right?
Right.
So I think if you're taking one step at a time and you're going, okay, this way is blocked. How can I go around and do what I need to do this way? Okay. Anne might get stuck with 5 inches of ice, right? So, what is her other choices? She can't leave the house. What are her other choices to do? If she has to go out and feed her chickens and it's ice, she needs to have some idea of what can she do to make that safe to go out there walking on the ice.
That's right.
It can be very little things and it can be big things, but I think sometimes to react without really stepping back and thinking, okay, what is the best way to get this accomplished?
Right. That's exactly right. I think
Yeah.
so too.
So you guys are going to get cold. Sandy, are you in a space where you're going to get really cold here soon too?
She's in
Yeah,
Arizona.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be 84 degrees this week.
Yeah. I
But
have like all
but
these.
back home it's negative.
Okay. So I have
Yeah.
like all these wind warnings and all this stuff. And so my 13-year-old has started this little specialty chicken business. And his birds are very dainty. They're little bantams and they're precious. And he has wrapped them. He has them in these little cages in the barn, and they're in a space. So they have a run, but they're basically caged in right now.
Mhm.
And I said, with this weather coming, they've never been outside in this type of extreme weather. They're still young.
Right.
I said, we're not going to put a heater in there. So we need to think of some solutions. He's like, I've got it. I'm going to put moving blankets or tarps all around the top of the barn area so the air won't be able to get in. I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. Go ahead, go for it. And I went out there to look tonight and I'm like, baby, the heat is going to rise up all the way over top of these heat moving blankets up above the stall and just go out to the barn. Our barn is huge. It was a stall he had. And he's like, oh, I didn't think about that, Mom. He said, I was just trying to break the wind. I said, it's okay, but we need to bring it down a little bit. Let's rethink this. And
Yeah.
so we came up with the conclusion of, okay, well, I've got bedding there on the bottom of the cages. They have all this bedding. We had some extra cat houses from a friend of ours. There's little cat huts. He stuck them inside of the bins. So they have big enough spaces where he put these little cat hutches in there so they can get in there. And then we took moving blankets and piled it on top, but there's still room for airflow. So they're not going to be
Mhm.
completely shut in. But it's like those little scenarios because he was getting so discouraged. And I was like, wait, look, we got to figure something out. Just shy of bringing them in the house, which will drive Dad bonkers. Let's figure out a solution so we don't have like 8 little mini bantam chickens in our house in 4
Right.
separate cages because they're in separate cages because he has them, special breed is in one, a rooster and another one's in. I mean, this is a rooster bantam, so he crows and I'm like, we're not
Right.
bringing that joker in my house. He's staying out.
Yeah.
But we had to think of those solutions. And I think that there was a level of he's nervous. He's really nervous. And so I was
Mhm.
just kind of tapping into, okay, we have to get calm and let's be level-headed and let's think of
Mhm.
how we can make them safe and not be worried about them all night. And if you want to
Right.
come out here and check them at midnight, because we know it's going to be pretty cold at midnight, you can come out here. And then at 6 a.m. when Dad's leaving for work, come out here again. Check them again
Right.
if you really want. Make sure
Right.
it's low. But you're being mindful of your body, but taking care. And so I think that's one of those things that sometimes we're not taught how to really think through those problems, like Sandy said. And I think that the more we're teaching people and the more we're teaching others, we're kind of teaching ourselves to take a
Right.
step back and breathe.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I think you have to learn the skill of critical thinking.
Really, truly.
And
Mhm.
sadly, a lot of schools do not teach you critical thinking. So unless you have parents or a mentor that teaches you critical thinking, um, it I think it handicaps you in some ways that you can't take a situation and go, oh, this doesn't work. What are my other options? Like you're having your son have the other options. And so I think that when we're in scenarios, we have to think, okay, what are all the options? Or does it really matter in these 4 days if I do this or don't do this?
Right.
And you have to have that priority list of these are the most important things, and then things that I can put off for a little while.
I think it's
That's
also important to have somebody to run things past too, because I,
Mhm.
even at 13, I wasn't thinking the way he is. And he's thinking one way. He's like, I can do this. And then he was listening to me and he's like, wow, that's a better idea. And so, yeah, he's learning that, but also I am also running it past through him. Like, what do you think about all these options? And of course, I usually
Yeah.
run when I have ideas past Eric. And he's like, I can't think anymore, Monica. Don't talk to me about it. I don't know. I don't want to make any more decisions. And I'm like,
Use your own brain.
but that's me where sometimes I'll need to run my ideas past someone because
Right.
as much as I feel confident in
Sure.
what I know, sometimes it just makes me feel better to say, I'm looking at this scenario and I've got like 4 options. Is there any other things that I'm missing? And I think we
Mhm.
work best when we do that. And we have friends
Mhm.
that understand and we can run things past. I mean, I was talking to Casey a couple weeks ago or whatever, and I was like, hey, there's a lady that's wanting to buy turkeys. What am I charging her? What do you think to charge her? Because I don't know what to charge somebody for, and he's done that with me. Like, what do you think about this? Because it's nice to have people to run things past too.
That it is. It is. It's very nice to be able to have that. And luckily, we have each other. And Casey, as far as running things past, we have a group text that we do talk to each other quite a bit.
We do, and we ask a lot. You know, a lot of people say, "Oh, we have a group chat," and then they don't really use it. Let me just tell you, we use our group chat. We use it a lot. But it's good because listen, you may have one certain topic that you are uber knowledgeable on.
Right.
Um, and then you have another topic that you're a little bit knowledgeable on, but you just need that confirmation from Sandy or from Anne or from Monica saying, "Yeah, I would do that too." Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good choice. So that then your knowledge on that topic can grow.
Right.
So I love running stuff by. Now I will say that I'm more overly dramatic than the rest of my co-hosts on the panel. So most of the time I over dramatize a lot of stuff and then come back to reality. I'm like, Casey, chill out. We're
But you bring
talking
it
about
in. You bring it in.
a couple days later. Yeah, absolutely. But I mean that's one of the big things is when like with my chickens, and I know that all of us feel the same way. I love my chickens like my babies. So I get very emotional when I feel like some harm or coldness or I've just been dealing with mud, mucky, nasty, wet mud, and it has been sending me through a panic until what Monica said, I've talked to myself, okay, Casey, option one. What is option one that I can do to make their little environment better? What's option two, option three, and then figure out which one is the best.
That's right. That's right. And it used to be for me, because I am a creature of habit. And if something is going in a direction that I can't do my usual thing that makes it right, then previously I would kind of panic a little bit of going, it's just not working. It's broken. I'm broken. I don't know what to do kind of thing. But now I have this ability, and all at any age can gather this to be able to say, all right, so that didn't work. Is there any other way that I could possibly go about fixing this or helping myself or helping my family?
Right. And if you can, because some homesteaders are all by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Can you have a good friend? Can you have a mentor? Can you have somebody that you can bounce these things off of? I think it's just so important to have that community.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
Agreed.
yeah, and I think if
Our
you don't,
phones too. Yeah.
yeah, use your phone. I mean, you can always Google things and they'll give you ideas. I mean, I was very lucky that my dad always wanted us to figure things out.
Mhm.
And it did make 4 children very independent, you know?
Okay.
But we could at least bounce it off of each other. And then I had the fortunate to have some teachers when I was young, and that was their skill. They taught you critical thinking. They wanted you to think independently, and it was amazing. And sometimes I look at people and you can tell right away if they don't have that skill, and anybody can learn that skill. And I mean, Jesse put Critical Thinking Skills for Dummies, a book
Right.
that you can order. I mean,
That's right.
there's lots of books that are puzzle books, that are word books that will make you start thinking differently, to help you.
I think the unfortunate thing is sometimes you depend on people too much. And so, like you said, you don't have the critical thinking skills. So, we've known people in our time that have been like, oh, I need you to do this for me. I need you to do this for me. I need you to do that for me. I need you to help me with this. I need you. That's super great. I'm here for you. But I also can't do all of your work for you.
Right.
I have to take care of my people too. I have to take
Right.
care of this. And I've seen people do that to friends of ours where our friends have just been taken advantage of. And they've said,
Right.
well, I'm helping them tonight. Well, when are you going to have time to take care of your own animals and your own kids and your own family? And it's so unfortunate that sometimes the kindest people get sucked into helping people that are just taking and taking and taking. So, I think that's a skill we need to learn too as homesteaders, is being able to know when to help and when to be able to stop and step back and be like, hey, let me teach you.
Right.
Right.
If I keep fishing for you, I'm going to run out for myself and for everybody. And I'm just going to keep giving you all the fish. I can't
Right.
keep giving you all the
Right.
fish. I need to teach you
That's
so you
right.
can help me, and we can all help everyone, and we
Yep.
can work together. And
Right.
I think that's really hard sometimes for homesteaders. That's really hard for people that are really just kind people. Kind-hearted people have trouble saying no to those that aren't critical thinkers and that can't do things for themselves because they've always been so dependent on other people. They've just not been taught. And if they haven't been taught, they're so afraid to try. Well, I don't want to do it wrong. Well, the people that are experts usually did it wrong lots of times before they became
Oh my
Yes.
gracious!
Yes.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
because I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't like to do things wrong, and I feel awful when I do something wrong the first time, or even the second time or third time. And if I keep making the same mistake, I'm like, oh my goodness, what is wrong with me? But I
Right.
feel like we do that to ourselves, and even those the smartest people out there, the most skilled people, have made so many mistakes. You just don't see it because they're not on YouTube, and they're not those. It's just not out there for everybody, and yeah, I think sometimes we forget that you have to make mistakes to be,
Yeah.
good at
Because
something.
there's a balance between faith and fear.
Yeah.
You know, having a healthy fear is okay. Having faith in yourself, but not so that it's so much that you think you can do everything, is not okay either. So there's this balance that we have to find. And the thing about YouTube is, you, for the most part, you see all the good stuff. You
Yeah.
know, you see how it worked, and you don't see the 10 times it didn't work until you finally got the hang of it. And but I think failing sometimes is a good thing, especially if you can pick yourself up and go, okay, this didn't work. What am I going to do to make this work?
Right. That's exactly right. And you do have to pick yourself up by your bootstraps and say, "All right, that was terrible, but what can I do differently the next time?" And I love that Jesse has put in our chats The Art of Saying No, a book that's from Amazon, because, sometimes it is very difficult where I used to tell some of the employees at a business that I help manage, you got to use your own brain, honey. Mine's tired. So please
Mhm.
use your own and figure it out. And so that was very helpful for me as well, because I am a helper. I do want to help and do for others, but it
Mhm.
gets to a point where it's so overwhelming. I suffer
Right.
because I have helped someone else be better than me, which is okay sometimes, but not all the time. So anyway, so Kay, what do you think about? Or you've had several suggestions in here for your chickens and for your babies.
Yes, thank you. Well, and for yeah, no, I'll pass on the ice and the snow with the mud. I think
Yes,
that is actually how it created the mud. Because
that's right.
before I moved in, we had the snow apocalypse in Georgia that happens like once every 20 years.
Mhm.
And it just melted and turned into nastiness. But yes, hey, I was telling Sandy and Ann before that I have done a mixture of sand and the wood shavings
Hmm.
in their little area, and it looks real crazy. But I have like 3 tarps covering the 19 feet above their run.
And that's
So that
okay.
keep it dry. I won't be taking any Instagram pictures anytime soon. But
Well,
it
maybe you should, so that people can see the real world.
Well,
Mhm.
ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Maybe
That's
I'll.
real life.
Yeah, that is real life. That it truly is. I even had to. This is how bad I am, y'all. I had the runs came with these tarps that were like a greenish color with the aluminum kind of stuff underneath. Okay,
Mhm.
I bought a set of 2 that was white. I couldn't keep a white and a green on the same run. I had to move both of the greens to one run and then put the 2 new white ones on another one. And then noticed I had to put a third tarp on and it was brown. And brown is closest to green. So I had to move everything around. Anyways, that's just me. Hi, I'm Casey. I'm weird.
Well, we do have to have brain peace. And Paul Case Farm says, I have no fear. Absolutely. Just
There you go.
peace. And so that's what we're talking about tonight is faith over fear. Guys, it's 8:30 and we have just about run out of time. We're so excited to be able to start season 6 in our podcast and be able to talk about things. I think this is so empowering for all of us to know that we can figure it out.
Yeah.
It is faith over fear, and to be able to have the confidence to know that not anything ever that was invented or done was failed first, and then they kept working until they got it right. So thank you all so much for being here. We really, really appreciate it. And we'll see you again next Tuesday night, right here on Round the Hay Bale, Ormsby Farms, Bland's Promised Land Ranch at Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona, and Andale Homestead. See you soon now. Bye, y'all. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, Monica, did you know it's now even easier to listen to Round the Hay Bale podcast?
What? Really? How easy?
That's right. All you have to do is say, Alexa, play Round the Hay Bale podcast.
Playing Round the Hay Bale podcast on Apple Music.
Ooh, we're really fancy now.
Tune in to Round the Hay Bale every Monday at 9 a.m. Central Time.